everyone, and welcome to the Chris Mitchell podcast. Hope all well is good. Everybody is well and good. Special episode today. Good friend of mine, Chris Dangerfield. Let's go over to you, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Special episode. Special as in school and Olympics, is that?
Yeah, I'll go with that one.
It's a pleasure to be here. Always nice to be asked to talk to someone. Always a pleasure.
So today, obviously, we've me and you've spoken many times, but I've never really delved into your childhood to where you are now. You know, obviously, I've heard some stories along the way, but I'd like to get to know the real you, clear up some stories, clear up some maybe allegations made up of you over the past. But yeah, I think it's a very interesting story. Some people might say there's one or two degenerate pieces of things that you might have said and done in the past. So we'll go through that.
There's loads. There's loads.
I'll just be nice, mate, saying one or two, you know, but just trying to be friendly, make you feel at home. But before we go into that, as you might be aware, I always like to start off the show with a nice little icebreaker. I want to so if you could have the session, I know obviously you don't do any of that stuff anymore, so it could be anything you want. It could be just a night out, like a meal or the cinema, wherever night out you want. Your choice. Any three people, dead or alive. Could be politics, could be sports, could any one of your choice. Any three people in the world, who would you pick?
Now, you asked me this already, and so I've had a bit of time to think. And I would have David Foster Wallace, the American writer who killed himself. I would have Theodore Adorno, the Jewish Marxist Frankfurt School writer and thinker. And who was the third? Jacques Derrida.
Thought you might have picked Russell Brand.
No, God no. Met him. Not.
What have you got any specific reasons behind those choices?
Yeah, because they're interesting people, and what they've written has engaged me. I think Adorno's it's Adorno and Horkheimer's criticisms of the culture industry in the Dialectic of Enlightenment. You read this piece was written 80 years ago, and you read it and think about the world around you today. They just nailed it, you know, as a cultural critique of sort of late capitalism. It's just on the money. And so that I'd like to have him here, someone who wrote this stuff, predicted this stuff, and to say, well, you know, it would be amazing to go for a walk with him. It'd be amazing to say, look, this is the internet. With all of those people I mentioned, actually, you know, there's been a history. I think starting from what's the Polish philosopher's name? Tarboyski, something like that. He was the first person who said the map is not the territory. But then Baudrillard, the Argentinian writer Jorge Borges, he wrote a very short story. Well, it's like one paragraph where he talked about the people who are the leaders of the empire were so proud of their empire that they built a map. But they were so proud of their empire, they wanted the map so detailed that it became a 1-to-1 ratio. So the map was the same size as the territory it covered. As the empire fell apart, so did the map. And then people who came back to that empire years later, they couldn't tell the difference between the map and the territory. Baudrillard then goes on to talk about that. And this has been like a conceptual idea that moved through the 20th century and was considered to sort of hit its peak with the sort of postmodernists of the 80s, 70s, 80s. However, in the internet world, the internet is the map and the territory. So to have people who know those kinds of ideas and say, look, the map has become the territory. I think that's a great night talking. And of course, David Foster Wallace would be on that, and so would Derrida.
So it wouldn't be going out and taking a few tabs of LSD and acid with these three, then, no?
Well, no, I reckon it would actually. I don't think David Foster Wallace probably not, but Derrida got nicked on what they say were trumped up drugs charges, but we've all had trumped up drugs charges, and they usually involve drugs. Yeah, I reckon Adorno and Derrida would come out and hit some acid with me. I wouldn't do acid anymore because it's a thing for when you're young, because I've got too many responsibilities and I'll be dead soon, and I don't want to think about being dead soon on acid. I didn't have to think about that when I was 18. But if I had Derrida and Adorno on the firm, I would make what I'd like to call an LSD exception.
Bit of LSD, Jay, as well, while you're on it.
Never has a quiz divided so few for so little.
Yeah, it was one of the most mental. I loved it. I was back working, listening to it. I was like, mate, I could never get. I think I got one in all my time of ever listening to it, but I still enjoyed it. I was like,
I couldn't work out how people got any. There was that strontium dog. He got 5 out of 5, 3 times. And I'd be like, how did?
Yeah.
Wow.
There were definitely suspicions over that one in the background. They're like, yeah, this is definitely rigged. But fair play to him. Big shout out to him. Right, let's move on. Let's move on and discuss the life story of Chris Dangerfield. So let's go back to your childhood. Obviously you was raised in the London area. How did you find it growing up exactly? Did you get into much mischief? How was life with your parents, etc.? So over to you.
Well, it wasn't actually London. It was North Kent. I grew up in Dartford, which most people know from the Dartford Tunnel. So it's right on the southeast tip of the M25. I mean, there's parts of Dartford. There was 5 mental homes in Dartford when I was growing up. 5. I mean, I don't know if that was like that in every town, but it was certainly something I noted. And one of them was called the Greater London Lunatic Asylum. So Dartford's a bit of a weird one in terms of its, it's part of M25 land. You're neither, Dartford isn't Kent. When you think of Kent, you think of Goudhurst and Hawkhurst, these beautiful rolling hills and oast houses. That's not Dartford. But yet Dartford isn't in a London. So there's a kind of an identity issue to all those towns on the M25. But yeah, I grew up there, middle of terrace, 2 up, 2 down, me, mum, dad, brother. The house was 12.5 foot wide, 12.5 foot wide, front room that then was part of the back room, kitchen. When I was very young, we had an indoor toilet, but we had a tin bath out the back that we had to get in, and the hose would be put in it, and you'd freeze. But my old man built an extension. Dad was a builder. And I grew up there, and I loved home life. I hated school it was a vehement and immediately conflictual. Something that's always hurt me and affected me is injustice. And I saw that at school immediately, the sort of weaponization of the authority figures against students. And so didn't like school. I loved seeing my mates, go to school, loads of friends. And I had to work to my skills. I wasn't, I was a very late developer. I went through puberty at I think 15 or something stupid.
Wow.
And so I was very small. I was anemic, sickly little child, buck teeth, kind of weird buck teeth. And it was a peculiar time. But so my skills were entertaining people. I'd make them laugh. And if you can do that with the hard kids, when you're a late developer and you're sitting next to a bloke in class who's got a beard and he's got like sovereign rings and drove a car to school and parked it in the field. And he's like, "You all right, mate?" And I'm like, "Yeah, not bad." You have to work to your skills. So I'd make people laugh, and that kept me out.
Would you say that? Would you say anyone tried to bully you, or do you think making people laugh pretty much made the bullies stay away from yourself because of obviously what you was going through?
I think everyone gets bullied at school. I think there's like a chain of bullying. Now, I do want to separate that from someone who's being targeted for abuse. There are kids who someone gets obsessed with and, you know, really damages them. And I think authorities, parents need to intervene, right? But standard someone coming up to you every other day and going, "Oi, cunt," and giving you a dead arm, I think that goes all the way down. You know, I had a couple of people do that to me. I've done that to a couple of people. The geezer I did it to. Now, there's someone at the end of that hierarchy, but he's probably at home burning ants with a blowtorch. And there's someone at the top of that hierarchy, the real hard kid. He's probably getting it from his old man. So I think that. But humour certainly did protect me from, and also get me in with the hard kids, you know. And that carried on for quite a long time. I'd even into my teens. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's pretty similar. Like, ginger hair, so obviously you get all the ginger abuse at the school and whatever. And I did see one ginger, like, just couldn't hack it. And it was me and another lad, mate. We just took the bands out. We treated it as bands out. We have a laugh. You know, we just take the piss out of them. And Blight just think like, mate, yeah, man. I'm like, we're the only two gingers in the year, bro. We're gonna smash it. Blue eyes gingers, man, with the rarest kind of breed, and we're gonna take over someday. You know, you just have a little crack with them, and they respect you. Do you know what I mean? There's not, because I think if you do that shirt, like the one ginger lad, I think it was the year below the year, I can't remember, but yeah, you could say it did affect you, and then it just drove the bullies to just go after him even more. So I think if you show that sign of weakness and you can't have a laugh it off, take the piss out yourself and also take the piss out of them, show that bit of strength.
Any difference at school is going to be used against you. If you're a fat kid, you're going to get called fat. Yeah. If you're a thin kid, it's because you're thin. Whatever, they'll find a reason. They'll find a reason to. Yeah, I think and this is important. You know, it terrifies me that they're trying to eradicate this. I think schools should have a ring, a boxing ring, and some, I don't know, 10-ounce gloves or something, some gum shields. And if you're falling out with someone, you go in 3 rounds, 1 minute, sort it out, finish it like men. You know, children need to learn about their role in the group dynamic. Their role, where do I stand in this group of very different people? There's a really intelligent bloke. There's a really hard kid. There's a really funny kid. There's this really quiet bloke. Where am I? Where am I when violence happens? Where am I when there's conflict? And this is how you learn, and that's gonna sort of, you know, be part of your adult life. And all this fucking, you know, not allowed to. I remember we weren't allowed to play conkers at school by the end of it, and they had kids. Well, if you wear some protective glasses and some gloves, it was like, come on, this is, you know, madness. And I think it's really damaging children. And you know, schools are more violent than ever now. Well, so yeah. none of that has worked.
Well, obviously from Birmingham, very multicultural. I don't know how multicultural. I'll go to how multicultural yours was. I don't think it'd been as bad as mine. I'm a bit younger than you, obviously. But mate, there was people coming in like baseball bats. But now you're seeing so much knife crime, and even to the extent of guns now, aren't you? In some schools. So, yeah. How was your school? Was it, you know? Early days. None of that. Was it majority white? What was the kind of level of violence? What was the extreme kind of violence that you
No, it was about 98% white. There was a few Indian kids, you know. There was one Afro-Caribbean kid, and you know, it was a big school as well, like 2,000 students, my secondary school, and that was it. There was I think there was a Vietnamese couple, a boy and a girl, brother and sister.
I bet you was well jealous of the guy, weren't you?
Fuck you. But most of the there were tear-ups, you know. There were tear-ups. There'd be a couple of kids. the worst I ever saw between kids was one of them on the floor and the other one just putting the boot in. There was sometimes it got a bit horrible when everyone just started spitting on them. There'd be two kids fighting and everyone around them would just start gobbing on them, and that was
that's vile, isn't it?
Kind of unnecessary. But most of the violence I saw at school was students to teachers.
Really?
And, yeah, I remember there was this teacher called Mr. Armstrong. We called him Werewolf. He had far too much facial hair and far too much hair on his head. It was massive. And he was an arsehole. He was a horrible, horrible bloke. And he pushed it too far once, and this bloke just put a fountain pen through his cheek. He just went, and all the kids sort of were about to go, yeah, but sort of just went, oh, that's actual bodily harm. He's in real trouble, you know. I saw students punching teachers out cold. I see that a couple of times. There's a horrible, horrible backward school. It was in that transition period. You know, this was about 1982. So we were coming out of the dark ages. My school desks had a little bit for the quill and a bit for the inkwell. You know, this is a Victorian school, and there was a hangover from that kind of method of teaching, you know, and some very old teachers there that would just come in and shut up, and if you didn't, they'd give you a slap. You know, I had a teacher batter me to the ground, like just slap my head back and then forward, and I was just all the way down to the floor. He went absolutely mad. I had a teacher punch me essentially in the face, and then as my bottom lip started going, because I was about 13, he went, listen to me, you little shit. He went, next time I'll forget about my family, I'll forget about my job, and I'll fucking kill you. He threatened to kill me. Yeah. And then he said, now
go on.
Well, then he said,
go on.
I'll tell you. Then he said, I suppose you're going to get your mother up to school now. And I went, oh, yes, I am. Yeah, without a doubt. You're in so much trouble. You just threatened to kill me. And this was, you know, they bargained with us. My mum come up and said, because my mum and dad knew I wasn't at that time, weirdly, academic. You know, I wasn't interested. I was very creative. The art teachers loved me. But they were very supportive of me and trusted me over the teachers. So my mum come up and said, look, this is what happened. That's not on. And they said to my mum, yeah, but your son has missed 20 out of 24 history lessons this term. So how about we do nothing about that? You do nothing about that. And it was like, deal, done.
Should have
plea bargain.
Little fiver on top.
Yeah. I mean, these days, if a teacher threatened to kill you, they'd be rightly ejected from the...
Yeah, well, that would reach national news, wouldn't it? Something like that. I mean...
I'll tell you an interesting story, though. I always thought, you know, when I finally mature, when I finally grow up, if I ever see that bloke, I'll knock him clean out where he stands, right? So I'm about 18 and I'm back home staying at my mother's because it's like half term from art school or something. And I go into W.H. Smith's in Dartford Town Centre and I'm just flicking through some magazines. I'm down, sort of crouching down. I'm using it like a library, really. I ain't going to buy any, but I'm just getting some info on some movies. And I saw him. Saw this bloke who gave me a jab and threatened to kill me and bullied me for 3 or 4 years. Terrified. Did not stand up, walk over and go, oi, bang. No, quite the opposite.
Did you speak to him?
No. I just thought, oh, you know, so that adrenaline started, you know, and I remember thinking, fucking hell, that needs letting go of, mate, because look what it's done to you. You know that feeling you get before a fight when you start shaking a little bit and a bit of adrenaline kicks in and you're thinking, hang on a minute, which is a good thing for you because it's a painkiller. But I did think, wow, how much power has this bloke still got over you? I mean, he's an old man. By that time, he was like 65 or something. I could have just pushed him over. But, yeah, it was strange sort of engagement.
I think we'll go to one of your funniest memories. So have that in mind. I've got never forget because one of my best mates at the time got in trouble. Like, I don't know, I can't remember the exact reason, but like the teacher's obviously writing on the fucking whiteboard or blackboard, wherever it was, and he was actually one of the other mates, one of the hard kids as well. So I'm surprised the man didn't know, the teacher didn't know it was him. Literally got his cheese baguette and just threw it, hit his head. Turned around and gone to the guy next to my best mate. Right, yeah, little fucking shit. Get out. I was laughing. They literally put me in detention with him, for laughing. And I was like, you know what? I'll take detention because that was just hilarious. Seeing your best mate just getting blamed for throwing a cheese baguette at the teacher's head. I got into a bit of shit there. And like the geezer got away from it. And I was like, how does he not know it's fucking you, man? He was a proper bit of an idiot, this teacher, but it was just a classic in my mind. Just big. If it was just probably anyone else that got like thrown out, it'd be a little bit amusing. But just because it was my best mate, and
of course,
to this day, like sometimes, like, all right, mate, fancy a cheese baguette? You know, like I don't know, like 20 years later, you still ask that question if he wants a cheese baguette. So that was pretty much a humorous story, and that'll always live on in my memory. But have you got any specific memories from school?
There's loads. There's absolutely loads. But the one that always sticks in my mind, like I say, a lot of the schools, these old Victorian buildings, so they had attic spaces, and we realised that we could get up in those attics, and we could bunk school in the school attics, and so we set up this little camp area in the attics. And we'd all like nick a few bit, like some chocolate bars or whatever from the shop, and we'd go up there and we'd have just like, you'd have to be quiet though because there was classes going on below you, but you didn't have to whisper, you just had to keep your voice down a bit. Anyway, someone had a plop up there. Someone could not hold it in. Now I'm not saying it was me, but it was me, and everyone got proper pissed off because it kind of ruined the place. So I said, it's all right, I'll deal with it. So I got a can of lighter fluid the next day, and I put the lighter fluid on it and put a match on it. And of course, that didn't go too well. And so there's smoke billowing everywhere. So we've had to run, right? So my best mate, he's run along, and we're all running to one end. And the first thing he does, we hear a noise in front of us, and it's the fucking loft hatch come up, and one of the teachers is going, "Who's up there?" And we thought, shit. So we've turned around and we're running back the other way, and as our mates turned around and run, first thing he's done is hit his head. So he's hit his nose, and it's just smashed it, claret everywhere. I'm cracking up because he's broke his nose essentially. And then he realized, he was like, because it's hard running on an attic because you've got to run on the wood, not the plasterboard. And he suddenly went, hang on, look, you can run on this bit. And his leg went straight through. So he's got one leg up like round his chest like this, and the other one has gone through the roof into a class. Now the teacher in that class has obviously run out, and you can hear him going, stay there. And my mate's going, help me. So we've gone to try and pull him, but kids in the class have now stood on the desk. They're pulling his other leg down. So it's like this mad fight to try and save our mate. Finally get him out. We get out the other exit, and of course disperse, just disperse. There's an emergency assembly called because one of the tutors has had to go upstairs with the old fire extinguisher. There's an emergency assembly called. When they done an emergency assembly, the assembly hall wasn't big enough for the whole school. So they'd open these sort of like, I don't know what you'd call it, it was like a plastic sort of fold up door. And then they'd use the canteen as well so that they could get 2,000 students in this massive hall. And the headmaster's come on, and he's going, we know that there were students up in the attics, blah, blah. And my mate sitting next to me, one of his leg is covered in plasterboard and like powder. It's just covered. He's got a big scab on his nose. It's obviously him they're talking about, but because they can't prove it, and they're just going, if anyone knows, just tell us. And everyone's just sitting there cracking up. Yeah, that was good. I loved school for that sort of thing. The funniest thing about school that you rarely get as an adult, I mean, I've had it in rehab centres, is just that when you're not allowed to laugh and you find something funny, it's bliss. When you try not to get eye contact with your mate because you know you're going to go. And I love that feeling.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
I mean, I remember like we had the GCSEs. I mean, I think they might have been called something different when you was at school. But yeah, I don't know if it was the same sort of schedule, but it might be similar.
I was the first year to do GCSE.
I really. And did you remember like there might be a schedule where like you'd have? We'll use maths and English as an example. So your first exam of the day would be English. Then you have to fuck off. And then your next exam's not until 2:00. Did you have a schedule similar to that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously we had our fucking first one, 9:00 till 10 or wherever it was. We had like 4 or 5 hours to kill. So we all thought, well, we've got nothing else to do. Let's just go and pick up a little 10 bag of weed. Let's go and hit the bong. And then obviously, you underestimate it, and then you're in the hall 2 for 3 o'clock, stoned out of your mind. Literally, so and then obviously the way I done that, because it was all in order, weren't it? Like Mitchell would be next to another M, etc. But my best mate was Fowler, and he just happened to be right next door to me, and I just remember, just don't look at him. We just like especially back in those days, you just get the giggles, and it's like, fuck, this is the worst thing ever. And then I think there was actually an answer I was struggling with. I was like, bro, like, what's this one? Like, and he's got his paper up. And I'm like having a little look, and the teacher's clocked it, but comes over and has a go at him. So excuse me, I'm watching you cheat on him, and I'm there bonged off my face, mate. And I'm like, I can't. But somehow,
please tell me it was the same bloke who got done for the cheese roll.
Nah, this was a woman actually. But came over screwing him, and he's there like, and obviously he doesn't want to grasp me. I was like, well, it's actually fucking him, and he doesn't want to. And he's there like, fuck it. How am I cheating? What proof have you got? Like going nuts, and he doesn't want to obviously grasp me up. Though I asked of him, and I was like, fucking hell. That was the toughest exam I've probably ever had. And I was like, yeah, we ain't doing we'll just wait after school for the next fucking bonk it next time, mate. But yeah.
There was no smoking weed. I mean, in my sixth form, there was a bit about, but that none of, we used to sniff Tipex thinners. That was about it at school. No one even.
I will go on to the drug side shortly, but one little. So when you was at school, whether it was young, preteen or whatever, or in teenager, was your ambition to become a comedian, or did you have an ambition to become something else?
I was changing so rapidly, I was into computers, but my school was streamed, right? It had 15 streams. And so there was 1 to 15, and you were put in a different class depending on how good they thought you were in that. And I was in 1 for everything. And there was only like 2 other people in the whole school that were in 1 for everything. And that kind of motivates you. That makes you think, I'm one of the 3 brightest people at this school. And so I was kind of confident that I'd do well in life. I was. My dad was still alive. My dad died when I was 16, but my dad just motivated me, he just made me feel like I'd be all right. And I think, I wanted to be a computer programmer. I'm so not cut out for that. But, the home microcomputer explosion of about 1982 was quite a big deal. I wanted to be a graphic designer at one point. I wanted to be an illustrator at one point. But as I matured, 14, 15, 16, it was going to be something in the arts. No, not in the arts. That's too broad. Something to do with painting, whether that be commercial illustration or an artist. I was already very much engaged in the history of art at that age. So, yeah, but nothing. I was already a raconteur. I was telling stories a lot of the time. I was holding court a lot of the time. I found that worked very well with the women as well. If you could hold court and have 8 people in a room laughing their heads off, you rose to the top of the sexual hierarchy.
Just a shame it was a bit too white for you, then. So, you know.
Fucking hell.
Sorry, you asked for this. You asked for this. I'm not joking.
No,
so
you asked for it.
Yeah. Sorry for anyone that's going over non-white. No offense anyone watching. But yeah, moving on swiftly. So obviously you said your dad passed away at 16. Obviously, very much apologies for that. Do you think that
it wasn't your fault? It wasn't your fault. You don't need to.
Sorry to hear that. How much effect do you reckon that had?
Absolutely
on you at the time?
fucked me. Absolutely fucked me. Awful. He was my hero. I loved my old man so much. More so in the 70s because he was really cool. He used to wear, he had a suit made by Hardy Amis. We could not afford bespoke suits, right? But he won a load of money on the horses and had a suit made. And he said to me once, he said, "You ain't a man until you've had a suit made. Remember that." And I did remember that. And I did get a suit. I got a few suits made in the end, but that first suit was something else. But yeah, it tore the family apart. My brother had just gone off to university. I was set to go off to art school. My brother went to university and I was going to be off that month. He went from a perfectly healthy 54-year-old to dead in about 3 weeks. To this day, I don't even know why. They said he had some kind of infection or virus. It's all, I wasn't really engaging with this stuff. It was such a head fuck. But they said usually we'd just go in and chop it out. But they said it's at the base, at the top of his spine. They said you can't go in there with scalpels, and yeah, he just went downhill, went into a coma, and was dead. And first thing, obviously, I said to my mum, "Well, look, I won't." My mother had been a housewife for 20 years. She hadn't worked for 20 years, so there was no money. We didn't have any savings or anything, so it wasn't like she could just sit at home and grieve or pay for me to go to art school or anything. So she said no. She said, "I'm not having you miss out on art school because of this." So my brother fucked off. I fucked off. My mum stayed at home. And I went insane. I went absolutely mad. I mean, I was already taking drugs. I was already taking speed and acid and drinking and smoking weed by that point. But after that, once that authority figure, that figure that I adored, and I would not have gone down the road I did if he was there, because he would not have tolerated it. And he would have let me know. And the thought of letting him down, it would have just been too much. But because he'd gone, I just went ballistic.
This is actually what I wanted to do this show, because there's always a reason. Like, I mean, all right, you might get your own case, but it's just they've had a perfect family and they've just gone off the rails by themselves. But I always thought, like, you're a good bloke. You've obviously done these things, but there's got to be reasons behind it. It obviously makes sense, and hopefully people watching it just go, he's just an addict to heroin and blah blah blah. He's just a degenerate. And I hope they understand, because a lot of people, like my dad's still alive. I'm 32. He's still alive and kicking. And I'm sure a lot of people watching probably still have their parents as well. But to lose your father at such a young age and the inspiration he gave to your life, it's going to affect anyone. But obviously, some people might not go to that.
This is my point. I appreciate what you're saying there, but I know plenty of people who lost parents who didn't become heroin addicts. I don't think one thing is going to lead you down that road. I think, I've been to 20 or more, somewhere around that number, rehab centers in my life. I had quite a long rehab career. And I'd say that about 90% of the people I met in those rehab centers were sexually abused as children. And I mean sexually. I don't mean abused or neglected. Sexual abuse and addiction has got there's an incredible sort of connection of those things. And I did experience sexual abuse as well. So you've got sexual abuse. You've got the death of a father. You've also got an absolute sort of a resentment over authority because of the injustices I felt like I suffered and witnessed through my education, my secondary education anyway. So I think it takes a few different, loads of sort of paths collide.
Well,
but I also know people who've been sexually abused who haven't become drug addicts.
Yeah, like everyone's different. You know what I mean? Like I think that's why mental health is so important. I'm the same. Do you know what I mean? Like I think I'm a pretty cool, positive guy. But when something hits me hard, like a loss of a loved one, whether like obviously with a breakup or something, a big shock to my system, I do tend to go off the rails a bit. You know what I mean? Obviously, I haven't to the extent that you have, but also I had a brother like I've got a brother that was addicted to the stuff that you was addicted to. So I seen how it affected him. So that's probably why I didn't go to that level of drug in my life. Do you know what I mean? Because I've seen what it brought to his life. Like he's got daughters there, and I think for the reason why he's done it, because like my nieces was actually sexually abused by their granddad. So not a relation to me. Like so, it's the mom's dad who
he put some lights on.
No worries.
There you go.
Yeah, so like, so the mother's dad obviously sexually abused my niece, and the other daughter, but it was not blood related daughter. So, and it sent him off the rails. Like he went on to all the stuff similar to you, and then obviously I've seen that effect. I only have problems with cocaine and weed and drink. That's the only three I've really had issues with.
But I think the thing is, look, life will give you problems. Life is, it's a struggle and there's problems and you look for solutions. I don't blame my drug use on anyone or anything but myself.
Yeah.
I don't believe in addiction. I'll use the word. I believe in a superficial sort of physical addiction. Like if you take heroin for a certain amount of time, when you try and stop, you're going to have a physical withdrawal. But I think addiction is a choice. It's just you choosing to do it. Yeah, so I built up these problems. I built up these issues, and the solution that I found was drugs. That was a solution to me.
Yeah, well, it's just escaping from reality, and obviously it's easy looking back now, and I'm hoping like people that's going through similar. I'm sure some of your audience might still be on it. Do you know what I mean? And watching, listening to your advice. But it's an escape from reality, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like I always find it. I'm waking up, but it's a never-ending cycle until you're really over and really push yourself to get off it. But like you're waking up depressed, feeling so crap and want to end it at times. So what you do? Oh, I'll just go and get pissed, or I'll go and have a line, or whatever you did, and you escape from that. But then it's a cycle. You're obviously coming down, and you think, oh, fucking same state. And it's just a never-ending cycle. But I do think it is largely psychological.
I don't know if it's an escape from reality as much as an escape from yourself. Now that obviously involves reality. That obviously involves reality.
That's what I meant. Yeah. That's right, yeah.
And the thing is, these solutions work for a while. For a while, it works. Like there's a little story I tell a lot. When I first started getting into heroin, I was with a load of mates. I'd been commissioned to write a movie screenplay, and I was living in a squat in Bethnal Green, but you wouldn't know it was a squat. Beautiful house on the old Ford Road, and I had 6 or 7 mates living there with me. I just moved them all in. Gorgeous place, all pine wood everywhere, freestanding bath in this huge bathroom. It was a beautiful house. And so they were all involved in it. But the first time I brought a load of heroin home, when we all done it, I mean, the first thing you do is puke up. I mean, everyone will be sick even if you just chase it, you vomit.
Wouldn't that be like enough? Like, I mean,
well, this is what you'd think.
And I'd vomit off it. I'm never touching that crap.
Yeah. Well, there's a darker bit. The first time I scored it, the geezer just spat it on the floor. I'm on my hands and knees trying to find something that big on the raining Soho floor. Most people at that point are thinking, I don't know, this isn't a journey on this. It started here. But here's the thing. Opiates are a painkiller. That's what they do. But weirdly, they kill physical and emotional pain. So me and I think there was 5 of us the first time. I'd done it with one bloke first, but when I started bringing it on regular, when I'd done it with 5 other blokes, they all kind of, we all sat around gouching out of our heads. We put Robot Wars on, smoking weed and that. But afterwards, they all said, nah, fuck all that. No. There was a bucket of puke we had that we just had to pass around. Who's going to puke next? And they were like, no. But for me, because you don't get high off of heroin, you don't like, whoa, wow. People who are damaged, people who've got problems, get brought up to normal. I suddenly thought, wow, this is how everyone else feels. I haven't got all these resentments. I haven't got all this pain. I haven't got this feeling uncomfortable in my own body. I'm not hypersensitive to the social situation. I'm actually relaxed. But my mates didn't have those problems, didn't have those resentments. So it did nothing for them. And so the next week when I said, I'll get a lot of skag, shall I? They were like, didn't really do much for me. And I'm thinking, what? The fucking best I've ever felt. So, I think it was a solution for me. But it becomes part of the problem, it will wreck your life.
So going back to just your first day of picking up, I mean, how did that even come back? Obviously, what was you on? Like just speed and weed beforehand, and how did it even come about going on to this drug?
I was drinking every day. I'd living in Bethnal Green. I could walk to Soho. I'd made a good community of writer and artist friends in the French House, which is a very well-known boozer in Soho, and Jerry's Members Bar and the Colony Club. These are very well-known historic Soho locations, and I was loving it. And I was drinking all the time, cocaine. I was selling cocaine. I was selling weed, and I mean, before that, the only thing I knew about smack heroin was seeing a couple around Dartford pushing shopping trolleys around and things, like trying to get a bit of scrap metal or get the pound coin out of they'd take trolleys out of the river, take it back to Tesco's, put the thing in it and get the pound coin out of it. And they were like a laughing stock to the rest of the town. There wasn't a lot of heroin in Dartford in those days. This is like, 1990s. But I was sitting in the French House, and the landlady, Leslie, said to someone she was talking, I was sitting at the bar, I'd been there all day, just getting shit-faced. And she said to someone, I don't know why the police don't go round to Wardour Street, all those blokes by the park, put them in the back of a van and take them off. Everyone knows you can buy heroin there. Coat on. I thought, wicked. That was the first I'd ever heard of how or where you could get it. And I just thought, wicked. Coat on, tenner on the bar. Thank you, Leslie, for the drinks. Walked round to Wardour Street. 5 black fellas standing there, looking very suspect. I went up to him.
How old was you at this point, by the way?
23. I'd like a bag of your finest heroin, please, or something ridiculous. And he went £20. And I thought, well, I might as well just throw this 20 down the drain, but I'll give it a go. So I give him 20 quid, and he sort of looked up and down, and then he just went, spat something on the floor. And I mean, it was literally like about 4 mil by 4 mil little bag. I finally found it.
Did you get ripped off, by the way, or was that like a fair deal?
No. Took that back to Bethnal Green. One of my mates was in, and I sort of turned up, little shit face, and I went, I got some skag. And he went, yeah, let's do it. So
how did you take that on your first time? Did you inject it, or did you?
No, we didn't even know what we were doing, but we'd obviously seen it, in films and that. So we got a bit of silver foil, made a tube out of silver foil, got a bit. Poured. It was weird actually, because as I'm opening this bag, there was another layer, and then another layer. It was like pass the parcel. And I'm thinking this is going to just be nothing, you know. Yeah. But the reason it's wrapped up so much is so that if they get a tug by the old bill, they can swallow it, go through their system, get it out, and still sell it. Lovely. And finally, it got to this really small bit, and it looked like a little lump of black. And I said, "This ain't heroin. This looks like opium to me." And then I noticed the tiniest of knot on it. Lord knows how they make these knots. And I was just took that off, and there was like tiny little bit of this sort of off-white brown powder. Put it on the foil, and then we just sort of heated it up and inhaled the smoke. Both puked up. We were both sort of just heads out the window going, "Whoa." And then I woke up about an hour later, me and my mate laying on his bed, and he had a light above his bed, and he went, "Is that the sun?" And I went, "Nah." And I just said, "I'm going to sleep." And I didn't. I went upstairs and done the rest of it to myself, and felt amazing. I
want to go back. I want to go on to the comedy in a second, and then come back to these because, like, obviously, to get to where you are today, of course. But would you say it like after that event? Would you say that you probably on it once a week, and then it came on a daily basis? Yeah, how did it progress?
Took a while to become a habit. I mean, I started. Someone showed me how to make crack out of cocaine. And because I was selling cocaine, I had a lot of that around. So I started smoking a bit of crack. And if you smoke crack and you haven't got any heroin, it's awful. It's such a horrible feeling after. Crack lasts about 3 minutes.
That's what my brother used to do,
yeah. You see on the news, they go, crack cocaine, it only lasts half hour. If you can get me some crack that lasts half hour, tell me where. It's a 3-minute hit. And then there's
that's going to get clips. That's going to do the circles. I'm only joking. Go on.
It's ridiculous. So after you've smoked some crack, you've got 3 options: smoke more crack, feel like death. The come down from crack is hell. It's absolute hell, and it's instant. You know, it's not like doing speed for a weekend and then feeling rough for a couple of days. You go up higher than you've ever been, but then you go down lower than you've ever been. So you can either smoke some more, feel like death, or heroin, done. Then you're just fine again. So when I'd go out in Soho, if I ended up doing some cocaine, I'd go and score some brown heroin to take the edge off that when I got home. But I then started doing it about once a week, maybe once a fortnight. But it took a long time to get a habit, But the weird thing is, it creeps up on you. I was quite happy to become a heroin addict. I remember thinking I quite like the idea of it. I'd read a lot of books about junkies, and I thought I quite like the sound of this life because I wasn't at peace with myself.
Yeah.
And the idea of that much drama and that much distraction. Because with the life, it's not just a drug, it's getting it, finding the money to get it. But the thing is, it's okay saying, I want to be a heroin addict, but you don't know what that means. And when you'll hear people say junkies, they're always after their next fix. You're not after a high. If you don't get it, you're going to start withdrawing. And that is the worst thing you've ever felt. I've never felt anything like a heroin withdrawal. It's agony, mental and physical agony. So I started doing it. It got on the regular once a week. But then, this is how it creeps up on you. Even though it's only once a week, so let's say every Friday night, right? But Saturday's written off because you feel like death after it. And you do have hangover off it. You're just drained. But then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday meant nothing to me because I was waiting for Friday when I could feel normal again. I wasn't withdrawing, but just that feeling of all that resentments and all that damage from my past gone. And so it's all very well saying, oh, I only have it once a week, but it's now dominating my life because nothing else comes close. So you want to come out, you want to go and see a band on Wednesday, have a couple of beers? Not really, sort of, I suppose. And then it's, well, it's Wednesday. I'll just get a bag in because it's Wednesday. That ain't every day, is it? I haven't had any since Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, it's almost a week. So then it becomes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Wednesday, Friday, Wednesday, and then it becomes, well, it's Tuesday. It's almost Wednesday, isn't it? I mean, come on, it's still. It's kind of, and before you know it, one day you wake up and you realise you can't get out of bed, and you realise that you can't. You start going through little withdrawals for a few sort of months where you're just sort of there shivering a bit, but 2 or 3 days, but one day you just think, no, I haven't got it in me. I'm not doing that again. I cannot sit around sweating and sneezing and not eating or sleeping for 3 days. I can't do it. And I remember once being in bed with my missus and saying,
was she on it, by the way?
Yeah. And I said, I can't.
That obviously wouldn't have helped the situation. Was you both playing off each other? Like maybe you would have been strong one night, and she was like, "Man, I need it," and and vice versa.
She wouldn't have become a heroin addict if she wasn't with me. Not a chance. Not a chance.
And how did that end up for her in the end?
Well, we were together for 11 years, me and her. I'd known her since we were kids. I mean, if you're really interested, watch. I've done a 3-parter called The Crack Diaries on my channel, but I also done a conversation with her about 4 years ago, and me and her talk about all that time.
Okay, I'll watch that.
But she got clean off her own back. I'd done about 10, 15 rehabs while I was with her, but I'd come home and just relapse instantly. I mean, this is how mad that world is. I'd get clean, and then I'd buy a bag on the way home as a treat for getting clean.
As a treat, yeah.
And go on. Well, and then that morning when I woke up and said, I can't do it. I can't do this again. She said, fucking great, get a bag. And I was like, yeah, all right. And that day later on, I said to her, we're junkies now. And she went, I don't give a fuck. And I went, no, me neither. And then my and her lives went, like it went, I've had guns put in my mouth. I had scouse firms moving into my house. That's a classic thing they do. County lines, move into your house. Like you do the dealing, they keep you in crack and heroin, but they don't. They really fuck you over.
Is that because you've sub stuff and you can't afford to pay it back?
Oh, they gave us stuff to sell and we just took it all, and then we'd have to avoid going back to our own house, and I'd have to somehow find 500 quid or they'd kill us.
And how did you find the 500 in the end?
Well, one day, some bloke, I remember a bloke said to me, he said, look, I've got a kilo of hash, soap bar. He said, it's pretty shit. He said, but you can have it for a monkey, 500 quid. And I went, what am I going to do with 500 quid of pretty shit hash? And he went, I just thought I'd mention it. So weirdly, that day, when we've woken up in this crack house in Torquay, because we can't go back to our house in Paynton, we burnt all our bridges. No one's going to give us any money. Everything's fucked. We wear the same clothes every day. We sleep in them. We don't bath. We don't shower. We don't eat. We've been nicked. In that life, you get nicked every other week. I got a phone call out of the blue, and this bloke said, oh, hi, Chris. He said, I've got a friend. He wants a kilo of soap bar. I thought, fucking wicked. I went, yeah, that's going to be 1,200. He called me back 5 minutes later, and he said he'd do it for 11. I went, yeah, all right. I said, I need the money up front, but you can trust me. I took his money, went and bought it off this fella, give it to him. He burnt a bit off one of the ends of the bars, smelt it. He went, yeah, all right. And I went, yeah, nice, see you later. He done the off. Then we went home, give the money to the Scousers, but they said, we know what you've done. We know, because the geezer I bought the soap bars off rung them up and went, oi, your workers have done all your gearing. What? Why did he? No need to tell them. And they took our dog. We had a little bull terrier. They took that as for payback for me daring to smoke their drugs, even though I give them the money. But then the phone's red hot because this geezer wants his money back, and I went, yeah. He went, what's this fucking shit you sold me? Yeah, it's bye, mate. I ain't got time for you. I threw the phone away. I fucking burned it. Bye. But that's not out of the blue in that life. Something like that will happen 2 days later. I mean, if your viewers are interested in real life stories of my time in that world, I've got a Substack. Chris, I'll give you the link. Pop it in the description. There's 15 stories of my life in there. And I've got a novel coming out in about 6 months. I've been writing it for 5 years. But yeah, my Substack's flying. But there's loads. This is the thing you can't. This is the thing that movies and books and that can never.
It's a real life story, and that's like a little bit. I'm trying to do a little bit different. Obviously, my politics. I've done that. I wore the t-shirt for a long period. Obviously, still the same beliefs, but I'm looking for real life stories. That's why I want to. I've spoken to you so many times. I know you've got your stories, and I've watched a lot of your shows. But I wanted just to get to know you and some of these stories, and just hopefully, like, if people are watching, they're maybe going for a similar, or if there's someone young that's, oh yeah, I'm all right, I can just have it once a week. This could be very much you, man. And so I think it's important to try and get these stories out. I mean, of course, look, let's not lie. It's not a funny story. It's a degenerate lifestyle. I'm sure you can admit this. Do you know what I mean? I've not left. I had my bad troubles. I was heavily addicted to cocaine when I was like 21, 22. The odd dabble since, but similar to you, yeah, it's Friday night, I'm getting on it, and then you go in the pubs and you're sharing it around. So you know what? Why am I sharing this with these when I could just go at home and I'll have it? And it's like, oh, it's Wednesday. I had the exact same, but obviously with like crack and heroin, yeah, it's a lot more physical, mental damage than coke. Even though that's still fucking horrible. Scratching the walls at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're not working.
Cocaine's an awful drug. As far as I can work out, it does two things. One, it gives confidence to people who don't know how to use it. Two, it turns strangers into friends and friends into strangers. Now, neither of those two things sound like a good night out to me. I used to hate it when the powder turned up. I stopped using cocaine very, very early. I'd inject it because that's what it was made for, and that's a completely different experience. But when you put it up, you come out the toilet and you're all like jangled, and you're like, what? And they're like, no, I'm sorry about your dad dying. What? We ain't even talking about that. No, because we're like brothers. Do you know what I mean? No, mate, I'll meet you tonight. I don't even know your fucking name. Fuck off. I can't stand cocaine. I know that sounds weird.
No, I can't, man. It was fucking horrible experiences. But let's go on to...
Can I just say, though, Chris, as you said, if anyone's watching this and they might be thinking they've got maybe a drug problem or they're going down that road, get onto my regular stream, because we've got about 40, 50 people clean. Now, not we, but people have, the person who got clean done the heavy lifting, but they said that they've done it with the support of our lot.
I've witnessed this, yeah.
Come over to my stream and tell us your problem and we'll help you out. 100%.
This is one of the things, I mean, like, I will get some abuse. Oh, why are you platforming Dangerfield? He's done X, Y, Z 20 years ago, or he's not even a nationalist. He's in the other side of the world. But look, I've watched the shows. I've seen the comments, from many, many, many British people, and even other people around the world. Doesn't matter who they are. No, we want everyone to be clean and healthy, but obviously, I'm England first, and I've seen loads of English and British people on there. So thank you, Dangerfield. Thank you to the people in the chat. Like, your experiences has helped me. I'm on day 10. I'm on day 50. And I've always said, you know what? Who cares if he might have had a degenerate past? He will literally tell you, yeah, it was degenerate. I'm ashamed of some of the things I've got up to. The fact is, he's actually helping our people. So I know you won't want to blow your own trumpet, although you've shielded your channel enough, but only joking. No, but I have to take my hat off to you, sir, and congratulate you on the work you've done to help a lot of our people get off drugs and share your experiences so people don't go through similar experiences than what you did. So thank you for that, for our people.
Are you actually going to take your hat off to me?
No, because it'll set the headphones off, and actually, like, it's a bit of a ginger afro at the moment, so I've got to go to the old barbers.
Is that a Jaffro?
It is a Jaffro, yeah. So I'll nip to the barbers on Friday.
Can I'll just say one thing about that? If you think you've got a drug problem, you have. You know, the amount of people who've said that to me over the years, and it's taken them 5-10 years to actually admit it. You know, I think I've got a drug problem. No, if you do, you have. And I'll tell you what, when I first started going into rehabs, I've gone in there, street junkie, shooting up into my groin, and then I find out this fella's in here for cannabis. And I'm like, what? You're in rehab for weed? I'd fucking give my right arm to have a weed problem. But when I start hearing his stories, Geezer used to work for NASA or some kind of, something like some European version of that. Now he just sits in his mum's basement playing computer games, smoking weed 24/7, hasn't had a girlfriend or a fuck for like 10 years. Weed has destroyed his life. It's not really about the substance. It's about how that affects your engagement with the world. And I've seen, when we were smoking weed as like teenagers, well, late teenagers, it was all like bit of Durban poison, bit of Lebanese blonde, and we'd do it to make what we were doing more fun. So if we were going to go to see a band, we'd smoke a bit of weed, then go and see a band. But then because of prohibition, you get the hybrids. You got the start of the whole sort of hydroponics explosion, and the THC content of weed went from about 6% to today it's about 29%. And there's a generation of zombies. You know, when I go back to Dartford, I see like 19, 20-year-old kids, fucking bags under their eyes you could put your shopping in. And I'm like, their mate's brother. And I'm like, hello, Robbie. And they're like, I go, what are you up to? Nah, no, fuck all. Oh, where are you working? It's on the dole, innit? Well, what'd you do? He smokes weed, innit? And I'm like, you're fucked. And that will ruin your life. This hierarchy of drugs, I don't think it serves. I don't think it serves much purpose, really. Yeah, and alcohol. The damage alcohol has done to European people is ridiculous. And I've seen them. Yeah, Dangerfield this, Dangerfield that. Anyway, fuck me, I was so shit-faced last night. So it's all right for you to go out and drink 9 pints of Stella and do unimaginable damage to your body, but no, Dangerfield. The only difference is the legality of the drug.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Really. And I'll tell you what, you could shoot heroin for 30 years and you could drink for 30 years. The one that's going to do you the most damage is the drinking. That any doctor will tell you that. Anyone who knows what they're talking about will tell you that. Alcohol has wrecked Europe, especially Britain. And it's part of our culture now. We go out and get shit-faced.
Yeah, well, I was one of them. But 100% agree. 100% agree. The legalities over it all is what, when I was younger, like my mum, like my parents just say, mate, you smell a weed, man. Why don't you be like any ordinary person? Have a drink. I'm like, fucking hell, man. But this is when I was 18, by the way, over 18. So just go out, have a drink with your mates rather than fucking going around your mates to smoke. I was like, yeah, you're only saying that because one's legal. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah, that's the only distinction, really.
So I hope, it's poor advice, poor mom, if you watch.
And it's part of our culture. We celebrate with alcohol, we commiserate with alcohol, we use alcohol when we're bored. It's just and that's marketing that's done that. The marketing is around that. This idea that it brings people together. Look at any alcohol marketing. It's always about connection. Most marketing is about connection, but alcohol doesn't bring people together. It drives them apart.
Yeah,
that's actually because you're not even there. Oh, come on! Well, are they memories? Because you don't remember much of it.
And there's always some nutter kicking off. I remember At the England final, like, oh mate, honestly, like I went to the pub every game for the England in the Euros, and it was a party atmosphere because we pretty much won every game, apart from the Scotland one, obviously. But everyone was party atmosphere. We got to the final, it was great, and then obviously lost on penalties. Now this whole group of people, same group of people, have been partying, celebrating, hugging each other, complete strangers. Well, I was anyways. A lot of them. I don't know if they all knew each other, but it's mostly dead anyway. But anyway, like when it comes to the penalty shootout, we lost, and the whole pub, like, in fact, I'm the only one sitting down because I'm like, fucking so gutted we lost. And again, I know there's some people disagree. Oh, who cares? It was so and so who missed the penalties. But yeah, I was a bit gutted. I've been a football fan since, from what I can remember. So it's always been in my blood or whatever. And everyone else was kicking off. Everyone else was having a full blown riot. There was even one guy. Oh, look at him over there. He's the only one fucking sitting down. Like, and everyone else was rioting. And I was like, man, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you've been fucking partying with each other. Sorry for my language there. You've been partying with each other, hugging each other, and we've lost the final, which, we should still be a little bit pleased to get there. And you're all kicking off with each other. Like, I don't understand it. But that's alcohol. They probably, if we all went in there sober and we lost, everyone would probably, all right, John, see you next weekend, mate. But because the field of alcohol, everyone was gutted. It made a lot of people angry and kick off.
I know it's a cliche, but if alcohol was invented today, it would be banned immediately. There's this poisonous liquid that does untold damage to your brain and your organs. It causes untold domestic violence. It causes untold road traffic accidents. It causes fights. People end up puking up all over the place. People end up addicted to it. There's far more alcoholics in England than there are junkies. Junkies are dropping the ocean compared to alcoholics. And there's alcoholics who it doesn't even matter. I only drink, I have 4 or 5 beers every night, or I have a bottle of wine every night. Yeah, you're dependent on alcohol, mate, and it's going to fuck your body up. Plus, but that's accepted. That's accepted.
You can get it any time of day, really. You've got 24-hour shops now, it's Saturday night. Tesco 24 hours isn't open. But there's a garage. The garage is open. You just have to pay probably an extra £3 more. But any time of day, really, you can get it. So it's very accessible, isn't it? But yeah, we'll move on. We probably may return back to a bit of drugs shortly. But comedy. How did you get involved in this? I know I do want to talk about a particular show name, but first of all, how did you get involved in doing the actual comedy shows?
I was already a raconteur. I was already very good at telling stories. I'd done 7 years at art school and university. I had a master's degree and a bachelor's degree when I was 23. So really overachieving to help deal with the death of my father. That was part of that. Fucking just prove yourself, son. Prove yourself. I was already very good at telling stories, and I thought I went into a rehab, and it was a good one, actually. The only good one I ever went to.
Was these paid rehabs, by the way? Did you pay for them, or was he just?
This one was, yeah. The other lot were NHS hellholes. I mean,
what do they do? Just chuck you in a room? Do it is it pretty much like a prison?
It's worse. It's worse, and I'll tell you how I know it's worse. I've never done any prison time, but often a judge will say to someone, "You can go to prison or you can go to rehab," and they all go touch. Yeah, all right, I'll go to rehab. And I've lost count of the amount of people who, after 4 or 5 days at rehab, have gone back to court and said, "Lock me up. I fuck this." Because no, they don't lock you in a room. They pretend that they're going to help you out with your withdrawal, but you're going to hurt. There's no way around it. It's going to hurt. You're going to hurt. But you have group therapy all day, every day. It starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. You do an hour meditation, which is group therapy. Then you have about 20-minute break. Then you do 2 hours group therapy. Then you have a break. Then it's like a goals group, which is group therapy. And I find that stuff really difficult. You have to get in there. You have to be really honest, and you will hear some of the most hideous stories. And it's just, I'm not good with that. However, that's not what you asked me. So I've done pretty well at that one. It was the first rehab that I'd ever paid for. And it was really good. And I really got on with the boss. The boss kind of took me under his wing. Me and him kind of clicked. This was a bloke that got Russell Brand.
He's probably saying the Kaching. He's like, mate, like this guy's he's a regular normally. Like, come on.
He was sound. He's still my sponsor. You know, he's still the bloke I talk to about my issues, and I love the bloke to death. He, towards the end of my time there, I'd done 3 months there. They were like, well, you need to start thinking about what you're going to do when you leave here. But I'd already set up my business. I set up my business when I was using. That's how it comes I managed to pay for a rehab. And I thought, what the fuck am I going to do? And I remember I was at home one night, because by this time I've got my own pad in Bury St Edmunds where the rehab was. And I discovered a comedian called Doug Stanhope. And he just tells stories. He doesn't tell jokes. You know, he doesn't go on and sort of go, hey, guess what? There was 2 men walking. No, he just tells stories from his life. And to this day, he's my favourite comedian. I mean, he peaked and he's on the way down. He's an alcoholic. But he has peaked. But I watched him and thought, I can do that. I can get on stage and tell stories. And I said to a mate in the rehab, I said, hey, I'm going to become a comedian. And he said, really? What are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to tell stories. He said, what like? And I said, well, and there's a true story when I had sex with a disabled girl when I was on acid. And I still know this bird. I still know her. Look at your face. Well, there's nothing wrong with having sex with someone who's disabled.
No, I'm not saying nothing.
What, are disabled people not allowed to have sex?
I've not said nothing. This is you coming to conclusions.
Your fucking face said it all, son. Anyway,
we'll cut that. We'll cut it. I'm only joking. Go on, sorry.
She had no hands. Her hands were fused together like this. Now, I'm on acid, and I didn't notice that until I was banging it. And well, look, you're laughing.
I shouldn't know, but it's just, I don't know. It's just your stories. Yeah, that's the comedian.
This girl has seen me tell this story on stage, and I said when I finished telling it, I said, and there she is. And she's right, but she also had this thing called a partially inverted spine. So she sort of walked like her ass stuck out and her chest stuck out, but it was weird. And when she got out of the bed and had this, because I'm tripping, my first thought was, I remember looking at her thinking, yeah, I've done that. Anyway, so I've told this bloke this, and he laughed, and I said, well, there you go. So I moved to Soho, got a flat in Soho, and just looked up the open mic scene. I knew that there was a thing.
What age was that then?
Now I'm about 35. So
this come quite after pretty much all this stuff has happened. But did taking the drugs affect that? Was that what, you know? So obviously you must have went back on it. Did it affect your comedian life?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I've relapsed loads of times. I mean, I'm not NA clean.
Did you ever go? Sorry to interrupt there. Did you ever go on stage when you was on any gear?
Yeah.
And you still pulled it off.
Yeah, I had sellout show. My Edinburgh Fringe shows were sold out. There were crowds going up. You know what? I've vaped for quite a long time, and one of my Edinburgh shows, there you could not get in. There was no standing room even. There were queues. They were massive hits. And I said at the beginning of the show, I said it's fucking great because I can't smoke in this venue, so luckily I can vape. I said, I don't know if you know about these things, but you can get all sorts of flavors like caramel and lemon meringue pie. And today I've got diazepam and morphine. And they'd all laugh, but I had diazepam and morphine. And after they laughed, I say, well, you laugh, but look. And I'd go, and I'd blow it, and it'd smell like a fucking hospital. And it didn't matter, you know. Loads of comedians are off their heads. Now, if you've got a comedian on stage drunk, no one would blink. And loads of comedians are. Doug Stanhope's made a career out of it. He goes on, he's got a pint in his hand, sometimes two. What's the Australian fella's name? Jim Jeffries.
Yeah, Jim Jeffries, yeah.
His big show was called Alka Apocalypse, and it was all about him being an alcoholic, and he went on stage with 3 beers in his hand. So suddenly it's illegal. Oh no, this is awful. This is degenerate. Jim Jeffries. Look at him drunk. Well, you know, I know out of those two what I'd rather be on, because it's not going to damage me so much. Anyway,
go on.
Well, that's it really. I got on the open mic circuit, done very well, very quickly. What happens is you do open mics, and the audience is just the other comedians and the bar staff. But then if you start being good at that, they then put your name on the poster. Open mic night featuring Chris Dangerfield. So that's your first step up the ladder. And then the next step up is when open mics pay you to be a headliner, to bring audience in to watch their other 7 or 8 crappy brand new comics. So it'd be like open mic with headline act Chris Dangerfield, and then I started getting paid. You know, only like a bullseye or something, but yeah, all right, for 20 minutes standing up in a boozer, just, you know, when you live in Soho, lovely, because all the open mics were in that area. So then I started going up, you know, doing that. Then I started getting paid, proper paid gigs with other professional comics. And then I'd done my breakout Edinburgh show, which was called Sex Tourist. So I thought I'd go to Thailand and I'd indulge in various sex tourisms. So like the massage parlors, the freelancers, all the different ways you can pay for sex in Thailand, right?
The lady boys.
Well, by accident, the first Thai whore I ever went with turned out to be a geezer and had a fight with me. Started punching me.
Had a fight with you? What
Yeah.
for? Because you moaned because it was a guy.
I don't know. I mean, the two things were sort of coincided when I was like, whoa, bang. Anyway, so the idea was that I was going to go to Thailand, involve myself in loads of mad behaviours, come home, write an hour-long Edinburgh show called Sex Tourist. Now, here's what happened. I was clean. I was 3.5 years clean when I went out to Thailand. Gone to the gym. I was going to the gym every other day in those days. I've pulled my back out. Hang on, Chris. I'm going to give you a little. I've got to close the windows because the mosquito. I go out to Thailand to write this show about sex tourism. I go to Patong, which is a sex tourist destination on the beach in Phuket, and I go to the gym, and I pull a. I don't know what it is. There's a recurring injury in my back, lower back. And as I'm doing this sort of, I don't even know what the exercise is called, but I just go ping. I think, fuck. And I have to get them to carry me to my hotel, which is just a guest house, just up the road a bit. And I'm in bed. Now, when this happened to me in England, they gave me 1 tramadol and 1 Valium, because Valium is also a muscle relaxant. And because I was clean, I was off everything, didn't even take, I'd hardly take anything. It stopped even caffeine, you know. I talked to my NA sponsor and he said, look, just make sure if they give you any to take home, make sure your mother looks after them and gives them to you when the doctors say every 4 hours or whatever. Done that, not a problem. So I'm in my hospital room and I say to the woman who runs the place, and I've already been out in Thailand 2 or 3 weeks, so I've got to know her, lovely woman. And again, you can read all about this in my upcoming novel. I say to her, listen, Tick, her name's Tick. I go, Tick, go to the pharmacy, get me 1 diazepam and 1 tramadol. That's it. She goes, okay. She comes back with 1 packet of diazepam and 1 packet of tramadol. And I'm like, okay, I think, I'll be all right. So I take 1 of each. The next thing I know, she's shaking me. And I'm sort of like this, what? Fucking hell. As I open my eyes, my room is full of people I don't know. There's whores everywhere. There's broken glass. It's fucking chaos. There's lines and a tube of Viagra. I know it's Viagra because it's got the turquoise, pill covering in the lines. There's a fucking Glock on the side as well. I've had a linen suit made. There's cigars. There's meth pipes everywhere. I don't know what the fuck's happened. There's blister packs of Xanax, diazepam, tramadol, Ritalin, unknown chemicals. And she just said, this stops now. She chucks everyone out. She cleans the whole place up, and I am wrecked. And it took me about 3 weeks till I could walk, because I was just wrecked. And it took me photos on my phone, messages on my phone, and time to slowly piece back together what had happened. And basically, I'd ended up eating all those Valium, all those tramadol, and then thinking, fuck it, while in Rome. I'd never done crystal methamphetamine, never had it. So I thought I'll get in. I spent 30,000 English pounds, and I still to this day don't know whether it was a week, 2 weeks. I don't know. I've got no. And this fucking Glock. So the Edinburgh show, Sex Tourist, ended up having next to no sex in it. It was all the stuff that happened on that relapse, which was a very, very peculiar. There was a lot of I got 2 ounces of methamphetamine stuck up my ass, trying to get through town without getting caught, and I couldn't get it out. And yeah, I won't tell how. Well, I won't. I think that story's a bit much for this podcast, and it's a little bit gory, shall we say?
That's all right. Just to go back, we'll talk about your Asian experiences as well shortly. But just to go back, because there has been some criticism, obviously probably not so much from yours, and just to give you the opportunity to explain why you call this particular show Sex with Children. So obviously there's been nationalists, some might say so-called nationalists. Oh, he's a paedophile. He's calling his show Sex with Children, and I'm sure you've probably explained this countless amount of times. But for anyone watching, that's probably thinking, "Well, you got this guy. He called his show with Sex with Children." Would you like to explain the meaning behind that and why you call that show Sex with Children?
Well, it was a show that was about sex with children. So it seemed to make sense to call it that. Now, is there a sense of marketing there? Yeah. Did it cause heads to turn? Yes. Did it end up with me getting a double page spread in the Scotsman reviewing my show and getting 5 stars? Yes, it did. Now, the thing is, have some fucking sense. Does anyone think I'm actually writing an Edinburgh show about me having sex with children? Or just maybe I was the child who adults were having sex with. Just maybe it was a little bit of a joke. Yeah, the show was about my experiences as a child being sexually abused, and friends of mine. I went up to friends of mine and said, "Oh, you know what happened to you that we've talked about? Can I use that in my show?" And they were like, "Yeah, of course." And so that's it. You know, it takes an idiot. It takes an absolute idiot to think that could be anything else. You're not even going to be allowed to do that show. Do you think you can stand up in a gig in Edinburgh and go, "Hello, everyone. Yeah, if you want to fuck kids, there's a great website. Also, come on." It's just ridiculous. People don't like me. People don't like me. So they got all over the internet and tried to find things. There's this one Burke, he put this video up, Dangerfield, the pervert, or something, the nonce, which is a fucking awful thing to call someone with no evidence, by the way. He said Dangerfield's asking his subscribers for pictures of them when they were kids, right? So with my YouTube channel, we're a community. It's not like a normal channel. We know each other, you know. And we do things like we had a music festival, which is where everyone who watches my channel submitted music that they made. We done an art festival where everyone done drawings of other subscribers. And then we had a thing where I said, look, how about we do a gallery where you send in photos of you when you were a teenager with your stupid haircut, your embarrassing clothes, and we can all have a good laugh. And everyone was like, yeah, sounds great. You know, pictures of you in the 70s and 80s. This will be funny. While I was explaining the rules, what you needed to send in, someone in the chat said, can we send pictures of us as kids? And I said, look, the idea really is silly haircuts and clothes as a teenager. But if you want to send pictures of you as a kid or a toddler, no problem. Now, this lying bastard who chose to lie to his own subscribers clipped it out of context. So all you hear me say is, if you want to send in pictures of you as a child, you can do. He knows that's a lie. There's no chance he only saw that bit and only edited that bit out. He knows it was taken out of context. Dangerfield's asking his subscribers for pictures of, and then there's about 5 comments going, "Oh, that's disgusting." Just lying. I mean, subscribers. How embarrassing.
That's the thing with the internet. I mean, I've had it done to myself. I know it's happened to you probably more times than me with some of the things you come out with. No disrespect. No, but like, and it will probably happen with this show. Do you know what I mean? There'll be someone like, "Oh, Chris has said this, Dangerfield said this," and they'll get clipped and probably.
Well, look. So let's have a look at this fucked a dog thing, all right? So my stand up and my writing, it will go from absolute truth, a mixture of fiction and truth, to fiction, and that's the scale I'll work with, right? So I used to do a bit where the opening line. So this is it. The compere says, "Next on stage, Chris Dangerfield." Hey, and I come on and I go, "Anyone else ever fucked a dog?" Which is a very funny question because it's got, look at you try not to laugh. It's because it's got else in it. Anyone else, which basically says I have, right? Anyone else ever fucked a dog? It would drop the place. Everyone cracking up, people trying not to laugh. And I'd go, "You don't need to try not to laugh. You are allowed. This is a comedy show." And then I'd tell this ridiculous story. And I'd go, it wasn't actually coitus. We weren't cuddling or anything. It's just a fucking, I was a comedian.
Yeah, I know.
And then I'd say,
this is what comedy is like. Sorry to interrupt there. And I seen Jimmy Carr and he said to a girl in the audience there, well, obviously, I think they're going to be overage. And he was like, "Are you 15? Yeah. Have her washed and brought back to my dressing room after the show." You know, and it's distasteful humour, but you know, people find that stuff funny, don't they? I've just found that. You say anyone else fucked a dog, you know, you will have that little laugh about it, but it doesn't literally mean.
As an opening line, it's brilliant. Has anyone else fucked a dog?
So let's clarify. You've never fucked a dog, yes or no?
Of course not. Of course not.
That's a big shock. Everyone thought you fucked a dog.
No, I don't think anyone did. Actually,
breaking news. I think there might have been 1 or 2.
No, I totally disagree. I think even the people that spread that knew the chances were I hadn't. Because people who fuck dogs don't say they did. They don't go on to the internet.
I'm not going to mention names. But I'm not going to mention any names, by the way. But did you not get a phone call? I'm sure you said on a show you had a phone call of someone asking if you'd really fucked a dog.
Someone wanted me to clarify it. Yeah.
I won't mention names, but yeah, just wanted to clarify that.
But even that was said in good humour. It wasn't like, "Listen, we really need to talk. We really need to talk." No, it was like just out of interest. And I went, no. But I mean, it's so immature. And you know, this is why I made a video. This is not a nationalist channel. I was sick of these people. Now, what do I believe in politically? I like the nation state. I believe in the nation state over a globalist world. I think the nation state model works. I think immigration should be limited in the extreme. It isn't working for anyone. So really, my politics haven't changed. But there's so many toxic people in that world who, as far as I'm concerned, don't do anything. You know, they don't. Where's their channels? Where's their effort? Where's their work? You know, they just slag people off. Fuck them.
I would like to bring you up on that point because at the time when you done that show, This Is Not a Nationalist Channel, it came in the same time as Iconoclast and another guy I can't remember actually had their channels banned. So a lot of people were thinking, okay, well, he's obviously making this to show YouTube, look, I'm not with these nationalists. I'm not, and to continue the super chats that you get.
And 100%, that was also part of my motivation, without a doubt. Yes, I was trying to protect my channel as well. Yeah, because you have to. You know, do I want to lose my YouTube channel? No. So I do what I have to do to keep it. And then, as you just said there, to keep his super chats, I don't even call them that. I call them grifting. I start my show and go, right, let's get the grift on. And yeah, I mean, it's so pathetic. You don't see this on the left. The left are all about donating, donate money. Because when people donate money to me, I can do more shows because I can sacrifice time that I should be working, because I earn money from work. And I've outright said that to my subscribers. If I didn't get the donations I got, I'd probably stream once or twice a week, because I need to earn
with the donations you get, though. You I don't know how much you earn roughly. You don't have to tell me, but conversion rate into Cambodian money, it must be quite a bit of money.
It goes well, but you've got to remember you lose 30% off of a super chat. You lose 30% from YouTube, and because I'm actually an English citizen, I pay tax in England, so you can take another 20 off that, so it's halved already. But again, why does this come up? Why nationalists are so weird about? You hear people saying it about Mark. Oh, look at the money he's earning. Oh yeah, don't let him earn money. He's only dedicated his life to the fucking cause. Oh, it's terrible.
We won't have that name mentioned on this show, but no, I'm only joking.
Well, I've got a lot of respect for him, so
it's all right. It's all right. I'm only joking. No, but I just thought I'd ask the question. Obviously, a lot of accusations.
Accusations of people voluntarily donating money to me because they enjoy the show. That's not an accusation. That it's weird that has become an accusation, and it happens to loads of people on the right. How dare you get donations at people? They're not having a go at me. They're having a go at my subscribers.
I mean, would you just one final comment? Would you say these people are probably, could be addicted to a substance or recovering? Do you I mean, like, this is not me thinking this, but well, it actually is. But and I'm not bothered by your answer, and I'm not judging you or your audience. Do you feel any sense of guilt that they're giving you some of their hard-earned money? Do you ever feel like that at all?
Who?
The subscribers that pay you. Do you ever feel a bit guilty that they're paying you their hard-earned money? So
you're suggesting,
not all of it.
You're suggesting that I'm manipulating them?
No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying, do you ever feel, you've
obviously seen a donation? Chris, if I'm not manipulating them, why would I feel guilt? They've made a decision. They've made a choice. That's not up to me, is it?
No, I guess not. But that's the question.
Yeah, but I don't. It's like you saying to me, would you feel guilt if one of your subscribers fell over? I didn't push him.
I wouldn't say you don't push him. You're just like, let's get the grift going, lads. 5 minutes like, oh, did I tell you about the grift in the bottom right-hand corner, guys? I'm only joking.
No, that's not actually true.
I'm only joking. I know you only do it once every 5 minutes, but we'll say no more. No, that's fair enough. I just thought, I'd come on. I'd give questions, all these allegations flying around, and I'll be accused. Chris, why didn't you ask him about the grifting? Why didn't you ask him about him shagging a dog? I'm trying to be fair.
Do you know for about 3 months, my show was called the Dangerfield Dollar Drive.
Was it? When was that?
Yeah, about, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago. Yeah, the Dangerfield Dollar Drive. And as soon as it opened up, I go, right, here we go. The dollar drive is on. Let's get that money flowing heavy and hard. And why did I do that? Because fuck those people. Fuck them. I've got more respect for my subscribers than that. And so have my subscribers. My subscribers didn't think, oh, hang on a minute. Oh, what's going on here? They were laughing with me at those lunatics.
You have a very loyal fan base. I've got your own little griper army. Whenever I go live after you or it's a premiere, I don't know if you're going to do a show before this. I'm going to try and aim to put this out at 7 p.m. tonight. So I don't know if you want to do a show before. But every time you send your army over. Scrubs army, Scrubs are here.
They're great.
Yeah.
They're amazing people. The support they give to each other, the support as a community, and I get 5-6 emails every week. I just want to let you know, you and the Scrubs have just got me through some of the worst times in my life. Blah blah blah. That's just on the regs. And that's not me, that's the community. I didn't set out to form a community. I made a YouTube channel. It's kind of happened organically.
Yeah.
But I couldn't be happier with them. They're a fucking amazing bunch of people. Yeah, we have fallouts where things go wrong. People make mistakes.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Everyone does in life. That's but yeah, I think much credit for the community you've built. I don't go on, sorry.
I fell asleep. I relapsed on diazepam a couple of months back. Now, the weird thing about diazepam is you chemically cannot form memories, right? Yeah. So I'm doing that. So halfway through this time, I said to them all, I'm finishing my channel. I'm not, this channel's over. And they were all gutted. Then a couple of days later, I was like, no, I am doing the channel, but I'm having my best mate, Paul, as my co-host. It was just madness. And a couple of people started to think, he's on something.
Yeah,
and then
I think I remember that, actually.
And then when I suddenly one day thought, hang on a minute, you started taking sleeping pills and now you're injecting 10 milligrams of diazepam for breakfast. This has got to stop. So I stopped it, right? Carried on with the channel as if nothing had happened. And then one day, someone in the chat said, I can't remember what the context was. Someone in the chat said, like when you fell asleep during a stream. And I went, what? When was that? I said, no, I didn't. And I had no recollection. And then, of course, about 30 people went, yes, you did. And then, of course, my inbox the next morning, they'd all sent me the link. I watched it, and I literally go like this. It's the beginning of the stream. I go, got me hat on. And I go, and then about 5 minutes later, I sort of come up and go, so let's go. And I played that clip on the stream. I said, look, hands up. This is, if you missed it, this is what happened. I lost probably a third of my viewers because of that. They just thought, nah, which is their decision. But yeah, I fucked up because humans do. And me especially.
I actually fell asleep on a stream, but it wasn't live, thankfully. So I think it was mainly because of the people hosting it. But I won't mention names. But yeah, no, I will definitely not mention names. But yeah, there'll be some people that know that's watching this.
Oh no, this was definitely my fault. I can't palm this off. But you know, I owned it. I showed the clip. I owned it. I explained what happened. I apologized, and you know that this is life. This is what happens.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going into the last part of the show. So, just to quickly end on the comedy sketch, do you think that if you never relapsed and went back into drugs, that you maybe could have made it quite big in the comedy scene? You know, whether that's
without a doubt. But it wasn't relapsing that made me stop. I fucking hated it. I mean, I'd done stand up for about 10 years. I done a tour with Trevor Locke. 3 years in, he was a very well-established comedian. He was Russell Brand's sidekick on BBC Radio 6, I think, for like 2 or 3 years. Hang on, I've got people talking to me on another platform. Sorry. My last 2 shows that I promoted, I took over £1,000 for each show for an hour's stand-up. Sold out, 200-seater, sold out, £1,000. That's net profit. That's after paying the venue tickets and all that sort of stuff. But here's what happened. I had a few agents sniffing about, and I had this one agent, Lisa, a lovely lady, still talk to her, and she started coming to my gigs when I was about 5-6 years into stand-up. And she basically said to me, she said, you get 5-star reviews out of 5, I should say that, all the time. Your Edinburgh shows have been massive. You can't get in them. They're always the
what was the Yeah, what was the deal with Edinburgh? It seems to be the main venue for you. Was there any reason behind that?
Well, the Edinburgh Fringe Festival is the biggest comedy festival in the world every year.
Yeah.
And so what you do is you go up there and you do it like with like your first. This is the typical pattern. You go up there with 7 or 8 other comics and you all do 10 minutes. Yeah, so it's say 6 other comics, so it's an hour long and you all do 10 minutes. It's called a showcase. So, you know, and then other people might ask you to do 10 minutes at their venue here and there.
Okay.
Once you've done a few of them, then you go on to a 3-header, which is 3 acts, and you each do 20 minutes. And then when you feel like the time's right, you do your solo show, which is an hour, which is, you know, that's a big leap. To be able to keep an audience laughing for an hour takes some doing. But my first hour was Sex Tourist, which I told you about. My second hour was Sex with Children. You know, I had full double-page spread in the Scotsman, which is the big Scottish newspaper. You know, they sent a photographer around. Like, there's pictures of me. And
did you ever get booed off or heckled at any point?
I got heckled all the time.
Oh, no, heckled you would, yeah. But did you ever get booed off?
Not at Edinburgh. I absolutely smashed Edinburgh. But I've had some terrible. Everyone has terrible gigs. I've had gigs where I've had to apologise, where I've had to literally stop and go, "Look, I'm sorry. I'm not on really. I didn't mean to upset you. I didn't mean to say that to you, love. I'm just not match fit at the moment." You know, I my last gig I ever done. Good Lord. I said to the bloke, it won't work. He said, I want you to do that Sex with Children show at my venue. I said, it won't work. I said, the reason it worked when you saw it was because it was my name, Chris Dangerfield. They were fans. They knew what to expect. If you get me at your venue, people who don't know me, then and I said, it's not stand-up, it's storytelling. And he was like, no, please, please. And I was like, it won't work. And he went, I'll give you a monkey. I went, where is it? I've turned up. I hadn't slept for a couple of days. I put about 6 gins down, and that was my last ever gig. And but that's not why I stopped. I stopped because this agent said to me, you're a great comic. You know, you always do well. Your Edinburgh shows are the standout shows of the Fringe, but no one can do anything with you. Because they want to put you on panel shows. They're not going to put me on a panel show. You can't put me on BBC, not a chance. You know, once they've edited out everything you can't have, I don't feature in that show. And also, so if I'm not going to go that route, which is the one, that's kind of the route, then you do panel shows, then you're a presenter, and then blah, blah, blah. The other route is to be a professional comedian. It's a terrible life. If you're Louis C.K. or Chris Rock, if you're at the top of your game when you've got a massive tour bus and you know the venues are huge and you're going to sell them out and everyone loves you and you can't put a foot wrong, great. But a jobbing comic, this is a jobbing comic's life. You've got to be doing between, I'd say at least 8 gigs a week, at least. So that's going to be sometimes 2 a night. So maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2 a night. That's in a car, sharing that car with 3 other comics so that you're saving money, eating from petrol stations on the motorways, you know, staying in bed and breakfasts. You're in boozers every night, so you're kind of drinking every night. And you're earning like 40, 50 quid a gig. It's a horrible, and all comedians are so depressed. They all just sit in the car.
Do you think it became like a chore as well in the end?
I hated it by the end of it. I absolutely hated it. I just thought, nah. And also, of course, I suddenly saw what was happening with YouTube. And I thought, hang on a minute. I can sit on my arse in my flat and tell these stories. That sounds a bit better. That's, you know, I'm getting a bit old. And I started a YouTube channel and it done pretty well. I mean, the weird thing is people saying that I was a nationalist grifter. Nationalism devastated my channel. My channel used to grow about 1,000 people a month. As soon as I started talking about nationalism, it stopped. Hasn't grown since. YouTube do not recommend me.
What are you on now? I think I remember you about 20, 21,000.
I think I'm on about I don't know, maybe 19,500. I did actually. I did actually gain some this month. I did gain.
You was in your 20,000s at one point, weren't you?
I was on about 23,000. Yeah, but nationalism, people left because of that. So yeah, great grift that was.
All right, so we'll talk about where you're at now. Like, so what made you're in Cambodia? What made you move there? Would you say that was you in London and then you had a relapse and then moved to Cambodia and then you thought, you know what, I'm gonna settle down here? What was the story behind actually moving? Because obviously I know you've been to Thailand a few times. I don't know. So what was the reason behind Cambodia specifically?
First time I went to Thailand, it absolutely changed my life. I just thought, wow, what a different way of living. What a different culture and gorgeous weather, hot. I like hot weather. And so the first time I ever went, I thought, how do I spend as much time as possible in Thailand? Then I got together with this bird and I thought, fuck, I can't really go to Thailand because I can't go on holiday to Thailand with her because I've had relationships with Thai girls and that's going to be a bit awkward. So I said to her, do you want to go on holiday to Cambodia? She was like, yeah, lovely. Came out here and I loved it. Loved Cambodia. And so came to Cambodia about 8 or 9 times over the years, finished with that girl. And then I just, I'd been in Soho. I've been living in Soho, I don't know, 10, 15 years maybe. Something like that. Maybe 10. And I just wanted to change. And I thought, what do I want out of somewhere I'm living? I want nice hot weather. I want sun. I want nice people. I don't want any of this social justice stuff in my environment. And I want somewhere where my money's worth more. That would make sense. So I thought I could move to Thailand, but if I move to Patong is my spiritual home, right? I love it. I absolutely love it. I've got a lot of friends there. And I love it. I my novel is set in Patong. It's about when I went to Patong to get clean once.
Yeah.
The problem is you don't marry your mistress. If I move to Patong, it no longer becomes a holiday. It becomes my life. And that will change it. That will change it because wherever you live, you're going to get pissed off with it in the end. And also Thailand has got a very heavy police presence and they're not very nice. Cambodia's got a very small police presence. I haven't seen any really. You see traffic police occasionally, but even they're nice. They're nice to you, even when you've done a U-turn you shouldn't have done. So I moved out here and I'll probably stay here for the rest of my life. It's an amazing country.
How do you cope with the language barrier?
Well, I've been here nearly 4 years. I can speak a little bit of Cambodian. Yeah, well, I also, had a Cambodian girlfriend for a long time, so I can get by. But a lot of Cambodians speak English. A lot of them, they know. This new generation of Cambodians know that learning English is going to set them up for their futures. But Cambodia a lot of economists are saying that Cambodia is going to be the next Asian success story, like Malaysia or Singapore. The average age, because of the war here, the Khmer Rouge and all that, the average age of a Cambodian is something like 27. There's no aging population draining taxes out of the pot. So there's, I'll tell you now that in 10 years, there'll be parts of Phnom Penh that look like Tokyo. This place is just booming at the moment.
You're currently, are you in a village right now?
No, I'm in the capital. I live in Phnom Penh.
Oh, you're living in the capital. Oh, in the suburbs or actually pretty much centre?
I could get on my scooter, motorbike, not one of those twatmobiles. It's a motorbike, 125, which you can drive here legally without a license. Lovely. I can fill the tank for $1.50. Brilliant. I can be in the middle of the city in 2 minutes max.
Oh, that's all right.
And I can afford, and look, this house is huge. I don't know if you can see how far back that goes there. And I've got a bedroom there. The kitchen goes in there. You can't see it. It's like a warehouse. Look, it's got this huge roof. goes all that way. You can't really see, but you can see how long it is by the roof. I couldn't afford somewhere like this in England. I've got a tropical garden out there. You know, I love England. I love it, but it's in trouble. It's in trouble. You know that as much as anyone.
Of course.
And it got to the point where we'd get round to sort of like August, September, and then they put the clocks back or forward. I can never remember. And it starts getting dark at 3:30, and I'll be like, nah, this is it. That's when I started getting very unhappy, and I'd think, wow, this doesn't change for like 5 months. This is like half the year now.
Yeah, it really does something to me. To be fair, that change, I don't know, it does really kind of affect my morale. Like nothing, but especially like when you work. Because when I was working, I unfortunately lost my job just before Christmas. But you know, I was going in at 6 o'clock in the dark, leaving 3:30, and like within 15 minutes it's dark. You think, fucking, I'm getting no sunlight. I mean,
you see none.
So, you know, I understand that, but obviously in the summer, well, even though it's not great weather all the time, it is nice to have them longer nights.
And there are pros and cons. You know, this is tropical. We're equatorial. Now, the problem with that is the sun comes up at about 6 o'clock, and the sun goes down about 6:30. So you don't get those lovely long evenings that you get in England in May.
Okay, yeah.
You know, lovely. I used to love it in Soho, sitting in a park.
What is that all year round? Pretty much all year round.
Yeah.
Them same hours,
Well. The only difference is you get monsoon season, which is like July through to November. But people, when you say monsoon season, people think it's just pissing it down for like 3 or 4 months. No, it'll rain once. And it's like solid water coming out the sky.
I've experienced it in Malaysia, and it's like you actually welcome it, don't you? You actually think,
exactly. Exactly. At the end of our summer, you're looking at daily temperatures of 39, 40 degrees. So when the rain comes, it clears the air. But, you know, once the rain stops because of the sun, everything's dry again in an hour, and you're back out enjoying yourself.
Before we move into the final part, because I think I want to end with something positive. You know, I think it's been a great stream, by the way, so thank you. But just, will you mind telling the audience the monkey story that you told me before the show? I thought that was quite humorous.
Well, I've lived in this property since I've been here, but I used to live upstairs. There's a little bed sit just there, and one day I thought, why am I living in a bed sit? I've got so used to bed sits in Soho. I thought, I'm bed sit man. And then when this house become free, I was like, how much is that? And it was next to nothing. And I thought, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Now, in 3 years, no monkeys, nothing. And then about 5 months ago, there's 3 monkeys in my garden. And there's like a couple that are about that big, and one that was about 3 foot tall, the alpha. And I was like, one of them was fucking one of the other ones, right? The one that was being fucked was just eating. That's why they come to my garden, because it's full of plants.
Just to clarify, you didn't get involved in this, did you?
No.
Just to get that clarified.
But the one that was doing the action, he's looked at me and he yawned. I mean, one was eating and he went, oh. But when he opened his mouth, they've got 2 teeth at the top like that, razor sharp, 2 at the bottom, and this is actual size. When he yawned, his mouth went, and I thought, he can get that round my face. I looked online, and yeah, if a couple of them get hold of you, you're in trouble. You are in trouble. And so I've just sort of closed. I don't know if you can see, but there's a couple of curtains. I just sort of closed the curtains, and every now and again I peeked out. Then I see them come across here. Then they went next door, and then they fucked off. But for a couple of weeks, they were coming around a lot. And I've got a little window just there, and it was open because I like to open windows in the morning, you know, get a slight breeze through. And I've gone out to my bedroom, and when I've come back in, there's a monkey sitting on my sofa. A fucking monkey. Now, what I'd learned, because after I see him in the garden, I thought I'd do some research. What I'd learned is if you smile at them and bare your teeth, that's you saying to that type of monkey, come on then, let's have a fight. So you can't just go, hey, look, monkey, because they'll go, all right then. Or you might decide not to, but, you know, they're vicious little bastards. But so I had to do the old lion tame a bit with my chair and just scare it. So I've just run at it going, get out! And luckily, it just fucked off out the window and I shut the window. But I haven't seen them in a while, but I'm sure I will again. But yeah, you know, there's other things.
Try and get the next one on record. It'd be great if it was on stream.
I've got some photos of them, but I obviously can't show you now. I had a flying insect come in here once, a body about that big, wings, and it was going, it looked like a drone. It was so big. And I had a girl here, and I thought, I've got my sandal off my foot, and she went, no. I went, no. She went, him bite you dead. Like, fuck you hell. So of course I've looked that one up, and there's one of them where if you scare it or put it under pressure, it releases these sort of hormones or pheromones or something. I'm no biologist, and you'll get swarmed. All his mates will come in. So yeah, it's kind of weird. You get tarantulas out here. I haven't seen any. The first week I was here, there was a spider the size of my hand under my pillow. I just lifted up my pillow and it was like that. And I'm terrified of spiders. And I thought I've got to kill it, because if I don't kill it, I can't sleep in this house. Not a chance. As I've gone from a slipper, it's run across the bed, speed of light, jumped off the bed, jumped onto the wall. And I was just like, but since then, nothing really. Get the occasional cockroach will run across the floor. I ate those as well, but they're quite funny, because as soon as you see them, they know you've seen them. They sort of stop, and then it's like a Mexican standoff. It's like you and them, and then it's, can I get my sandal before he runs? Because if he gets under my sofa or into a cupboard again, so then it's just bang. But some of those cockroaches are like that big without their antenna. You know, they're big bastards.
You don't know the animal rights people will be trying to get this channel shut down now, so thanks for that. But right, we'll move on to the final bit. I thought a nice little bit of ending, because we're both quite into it. You're more into the yoga, I'm more into meditation. I have done both. But just in your, I mean, everyone knows my feelings on meditation and also Buddhism to an extent. Just you express your opinion on the importance of meditation and yoga, or one or the other. It's up to you. Yeah, just over to you. What the importance of doing this, especially someone that's a recovering addict. I mean, I think everyone should be doing it, but obviously I wouldn't preach that to everyone, but especially someone that's recovering, because I felt when I've gone through my bad experiences and done what I've done, you know, meditation, you know, I've never went on to antidepressants. I've never really sought professional help. I might have talked to a mate or two or whatever, but I've always got it down to I'll deal with it myself, and it's always been through meditation. But yeah, over to you.
I wouldn't advise people to necessarily deal with things themselves. I think asking for help is really important. I think as a culture, I think English people are very much like that, very stoic in as much as, no, I'll deal with it myself. So I would say, if you are suffering, whatever, ask for help, even if it's just a friend. I would suggest that. I would. But yoga has saved my life without a doubt. You know, I've been doing yoga since I was 23. You know, the damage I've put my body through over the years, I would honestly say yoga and that stuff, water, I drink about 5 liters of water a day, has kept me alive. You know, it's just an hour here and there. I do it like sometimes 3 or 4 times a week, sometimes once a week. We've done a couple of yoga streams on my channel where everyone's bought a yoga mat and I demonstrate it and they copy it. But it's just an hour where I'm not on the computer. I'm not distracting myself with something. I'm just being very nice to my body.
It's bringing the mind into the present, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that. I'm not in the past. I'm not thinking about things in the past. I'm not projecting into the future. Because if I'm projecting into the future, I'm living in fear. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? I'm fearful about things that haven't even happened. If I'm thinking about things in the past that I've regretted, things I've done, I'm living in resentment. And I don't want to be in either of those two places. I want to be in the only place that actually exists right now.
Yeah.
There's only the present. There isn't the past and the future don't exist. Why spend time there? So yoga gives me. I don't do hatha yoga. I don't sit there like in a lotus position going on. I do Iyengar yoga, headstands, shoulder stands, twists, balances. You know, I can with my legs straight. I can put my elbows on the floor. I know people who can't even get their hands on the floor, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, look after yourself a bit. You know, this is my body. I'm nearly 50. I'll be 50 this year. I don't want my body to start breaking down. You know, I've got mates who can't even sit with their legs out in front of them and their back straight. They're like this. And, you know, I can get my head on the floor with my legs straight. And this is my body. This is what's going to take me through the rest of my life. I want to look after it. I want to make sure everything's open. I want to make sure everything's flexible, you know, and then with Iyengar, when you get into a posture, so let's say a headstand, you don't just do an headstand and then drop it. You do an headstand and then you hold it. And that's the meditative phase of my yoga. For that 3 minutes, I'm just concentrating on my breathing and my body. And then when I finish a session, you do a thing called the corpse pose, which is just laying there. And that's when I meditate. I'll do 20, 25 minutes, just laying there, concentrating on my breathing. My mind will wander. You know, I've been doing this for 20 odd years, and I'll think, just concentrate on your breathing. And before I know it, I'm thinking about, I really should polish my shoes next week. And then I'm like, no, come back. Right, back here. And then I'm thinking, how much did I pay for that steak last night? I might get a couple of them. No, come back. And just keep trying to come back and concentrate on my breath in and out. And it levels me, it settles me, and I just do it. It's like you might not think I'm that clever, people, but if you think I've got half a brain, I wouldn't have been doing something for over 20 years unless it had given me something. It's a waste of time, and I still do it. So.
Absolutely well said. Like, meditation has saved me on many times, mate. It's pretty much the same. And I've had a lot of people say, Chris, I can't do it, man. I keep thinking about X, Y, Z. Look, but it's all about being aware that your mind is traveling off to a different thought. Just being aware of that thought. Don't think of that thought like, oh, I'm doing I can't do shopping, and get pissed off with yourself because you're thinking about doing the shopping. No, you just be aware. Okay, notice it, let it go. Come back to the breath, you know, like even the greatest buddies don't just go into a meditative state, you know, it takes time and practice. But even from the first minute, you know, normally takes me like 15, 20 minutes. I've proper, like, just sitting there and meditating to really silence that inner chatter. Do you know what I mean? You know, and
I've never succeeded. I've never succeeded in reaching.
Yeah, I've done it a few times, but it's difficult. But anyone listening is going to try it. Look, just if you're thinking of something else, just being aware of it is enough. You might be thinking it for a minute, and then you're aware that, I'm meant to be breathing. Don't get upset with yourself. Just calmly bring it back to the breath. It happens, and you build up all that tolerance. Meditation is the gym for your mind. I told you about my dream earlier. I'm not going to go into that, but like, your mind never gets sleep. You know what I mean? Even when you're dreaming, like, my dreams are even more crazy than my reality. So my mind only gets rest when I meditate, and that's why I wanted to speak about this, because before the end of the show, do you know what I mean? I think it's a nice little positive, positive lift for people to listen to at the end of the show.
There's a lot of rubbish spoken about meditation, and I've had a Buddhist monk tell me how to do it, and he said it's very simple. You don't need to be in the lotus position. You can sit on a chair like this. Like, you can sit, lay down, shut your eyes, and concentrate on your breathing. Be aware of your breathing. So I'm breathing in. That's it. That is all there is to meditation. Now, like Chris just said, your mind will wander. You know, you haven't failed. You haven't done anything wrong. You've done what pretty much everyone's going to do. And then just go, okay, I should be aware of my breathing, and just come back to your breathing. What I would say, though, is start with 3 minutes. do that a couple of times a week, then move it up to 5. And if you're getting comfortable, you know, you can just go with that. But it's not complex. You know, I see fucking Russell Brand the other week done a video about it, and it was so convoluted and contrived and all this. Consider the spiritual inner consciousness of the chakra that binds us together. No, fuck all that. Just concentrate on your breathing and relax.
Yeah, just simplify it, just completely simplify it, and like it just cleans your mind, you know. It's just brilliant. I'm buzzing actually. I'm actually gonna go to the beach shortly and do it. It might be a little bit cold, but I'll brave it out. It gets me positive talking about it, so that's what I'm gonna do.
Me too.
We'll go on.
I'll tell you what, I had a load of migraines recently. I suffer from migraines with aura. I get all the funny fucking kaleidoscope bit. But the kaleidoscope bit's quite handy because it tells me I'm about to have a migraine. And when I have a migraine, the headache's the least of the problems. It's what it does to the rest of my body that is hell. Now, I've been 4 or 5 years without a migraine, but I'll get a burst of them. And, you know, I kind of know why I've been having them recently. I've identified it. But for the first time ever, about a month ago, I meditated the migraine away. Because if I take medication for it, I have to take 2 or 3 paracetamols and 2 or 3 ibuprofens. I don't want that. Weirdly, for someone with my drug history, I don't like taking all that. Or I take something like Zomig, which is a migraine medication, and that wipes me out as much as the migraine. So because I've been having a lot of them and been taking a lot of medication, I just thought, no, hang on a minute, let's try something else. So I just turned the computer off, turned all the lights off. I turned this chair away from the outside because I didn't want any light from outside. And I sat here and I saw the aura appear. And as I was meditating, the aura started getting a bit smaller. And I was like, hang on a minute, hang on. Because usually the aura just gets bigger and bigger until it's just mad patterns. And then when I got a bit excited because it was going, it started getting a bit bigger because I'd obviously come out of the relaxation meditative state. So I thought, no, relax. And then it started getting smaller again. And I was having this sort of weird battle with it. And in the end, after about 10 minutes, gone. And I stayed meditating for about another 5 minutes because I thought, I can't believe this has happened. Have I just stopped a migraine from happening? And then after about 5 minutes, I opened my eyes and I was like, yes, I have. And I thought, that's amazing. And I thought, right, but don't stop listening to your body. Your body's giving you a migraine to say, stop looking at the computer. You know, I stream online, I work online, I write online. So don't get back on the computer, rest your eyes, go and do. So I just went for a walk. I just went for a nice 40-minute walk around Phnom Penh. Yeah, I know what it means to you because we talk about this a lot, but yeah, it's great stuff.
It is, and I think one day actually we'll do a stream. We'll do a stream, maybe a live show, so we can get some questions in on meditation, Buddhism, and yoga. I think we'll get that sorted. Right, so let's go. Some final thoughts. You know, if you want to give any advice to anyone that's watching that might be struggling, up to you. Just if you want to plug anything, completely up to you. Just the dance floor will be yours shortly. Just want to say a massive thank you. I hope I've cleared up many questions that I've seen floating around over the years and whatever. You know, I hope this guy has cleared it up. I think look, he's not got the greatest past. Neither have I. Neither have probably you. You know, we've all done bad at one stage in lives. But you know, credit to this guy. He's like, he might not be in England producing lots of English white babies, but you know, we'll forgive him because he's helping our people that's struggling with a lot of mental health issues, drug problems, alcohol problems, you know. And I've gone to this guy, you know, and I know there's always meditation, but we said earlier, it's always important to speak to someone. You know, as you know, Dangerfield, through my difficult spell, I was on the phone to you, but was doing voice notes, and I appreciate that help at the time as well. And yeah, if you need any support, this guy's your man. Go and watch his shows. Quite humorous. Hope he's changed opinions of some of you. You know, whatever he's done in the past, just let it be. The guy's doing great work now, and yeah, and I wish you all the best, Dangerfield, and I hope to speak soon, bro. Dance floor is yours.
Well, thanks for having me on, Chris. Always nice to be asked. Yeah, if you've got a drug or alcohol problem and you want some help with it and you don't know what to do, come over to my streams and just introduce yourself. If you feel comfortable there, just tell us. Then I'll give you my email address and you can write to me. And we've helped loads of people. I mean, you'll have to do the heavy lifting. It's your problem, but we can certainly give you some support. And that's been proven. Like I said, loads of people have got clean. And loads of people who, you know, not just drug or alcohol problems. Look, if you're lacking a community, our place, My Stream's a good place. So they're good people. What can I shill? My Substack. If you like reading, they're true stories. Oh, they're kind of like my comedy actually. It's from fiction and truth and a mixture of both. But my Substack. Hopefully, Chris will put a link in the description. That's it, really. Look after yourselves.
Thank you, guys, and we'll see you soon. Peace out.
Gone to the gym. I was going to the gym every other day in those days. I've pulled my back out. Hang on, Chris. I'm going to give you a little. I've got